Hey, what's up, guys? John here. The movie Purge turns out to be our everyday real life, and it starts in 2023. January 1st, 2023, we are going to see the Purge kick off in Chicago as they eliminate cash bail and allow nearly every single crime to become fully legal. Even if you committed the most heinous crime that you could possibly imagine, they couldn't hold you for longer than 90 days in Chicago. The big question is, what is this going to do to the residents in Chicago? What is it going to do to property values, the economy, the job market? Is this going to go to places like Philadelphia, places like Boston, places like LA, New York City, all over, right? You look at a lot of these cities, they all kind of follow each other in terms of landlord-tenant law, in terms of all the protests, in terms of police reform. A lot of these cities all follow the same, right? And so as this begins to happen, we have to ask ourselves, is this going to come to a city near us? Even if you don't live in Chicago, because this to me is real insanity. This is absolutely crazy. Take a look at this. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate more people about what's really going on in the economy and real estate. State law will release second-degree murder suspects without bail at the end of days. When a new Illinois law takes effect next year, it will do away with the cash bail system in the state, meaning suspects charged with felonies including second-degree murder, aggravated battery, and arson will be released without bail. The Counter-Signal reports the Safety, Accountability, Fairness, Equity Today Act, also called the Safety Act, will end cash bail. It includes 12 non-detainable offenses. Listen to what these offenses are, because it is absolutely crazy. Second-degree murder, aggravated battery, arson without bail, as well as drug-induced homicide, kidnapping, burglary, robbery, intimidation, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing and eluding, drug offenses, threatening a public official, all of which are non-detainable offenses. Think about what's happening in the economy right now in the world. A lot of people's financial position has never been weaker with record high inflation. You have everything is just going through the roof. Everything is extremely expensive, and now we're starting to see these job layoffs. The big question is, if all of this crime becomes no longer a detainable action, then why wouldn't people commit these crimes to survive, right? A lot of people are getting pushed financially. If you ever watch the Discovery Channel, when you see animals in the wild, they do whatever they need to do to survive. Why wouldn't it be any different in a city like Chicago? When the law takes effect January 1st, 2023, criminals charged with the crimes mentioned above will be released without bail. The bail system will be replaced by a bail system that considers the offense severity, the risk of not appearing in court, and the potential threat to the community if a person is released. When signaling the legislation, Governor J.B. Pritzker remarked the measure marks a substantial step towards dismantling systemic racism that plagues our communities, our state, and our nation, and brings us closer to true safety, true fairness, and true justice. Supporters of the measure say it's a step in the making the justice system equal and fair, especially for minority communities. Now, I don't agree with any of that. That's just my opinion. I personally think that it wouldn't matter if I was a minority and lived in a minority community. If I was a grandmother and I had young children and kidnapping was now legal and people could not be detained for it, I wouldn't want to be in that community. I wouldn't want to be there, right? I'm sure a lot of people are looking at all these other crimes saying, you know what, I worked my whole life, I have a family here, I want to keep them safe, and then these types of policies are going to make it very challenging for that safety to actually be enforced, right? This is going to be very interesting to watch how this whole thing plays out. House Chair of Illinois Legislation, Black Caucus Rep. Cam Buckner, Democrat Chicago, told Capitol Hill News that the Safety Act was the first stab at addressing public safety issues and police distrust in our minority communities. It's the first stab. The 800-page law also addresses detainee rights, police certification standards, use of force, body cameras. It's also the ending of the cash bail system that's getting the most attention. Supporters of the law say that the cash bail system is not fair for poor defendants, but a rising chorus of law enforcement officials and prosecutors across the Prairie State are sounding the alarm. Will State's attorney James Glasgow said the YouTube video will be the end of days. Once the law kicked in, he says the hands of police, prosecutors, and judges will be tied. Glasgow said he won't be able to hold people longer for 3 months if they demand trial. On the 90th day, they get out no matter what the crime they committed. Think about that. This is a state attorney saying this. No matter the crime, think of the most heinous, craziest situation. Think of all the things that have happened last decade, the craziest things. They're saying on the 90th day they get out no matter what they did. No matter what they did, the state attorney said. He called on voters to demand if anyone running for election in November to repeal the measure, the bill will destroy the city and the state of Illinois. I don't even understand how the people who supported it can not realize that. Brown County State Attorney Mike Hill, Sheriff Justin Oliver, and Mount Sterling Police Chief Brandon Norris said in an 1,800-word statement that releasing so many suspects in this manner will have disastrous consequences for the entire state of Illinois. Those who support the new law say that the current system imposes different justice systems on defendants who can afford their bond compared to those who cannot. While we agree that a person's freedom should not depend on their bank account, completely eliminating the current system was never the answer. Abolishing cash bail means that every person that has been held in jail awaiting trial will have their bonds. You think about this. Everybody in jail, everyone in jail will be able to get out. And community safety will be put at risk. The 3 Brown County officials noted the new law is full of contradictions, ambiguities, and very poorly drafted. Lawyers across the state are all scratching their heads, wondering how the new system is going to work and keep people safe. Additionally, beginning January 1st, 2023, judges will no longer be allowed to consider the person's threat to the community. Serial domestic abusers, sex offenders, residential burglars will be set free without judges being allowed to consider public safety generally unless the prosecutions can prove by clear and convincing evidence that the accused possesses a real and present threat to the safety of persons and no condition can mitigate the threat. The 3 officials concluded the statement by saying that they didn't want to incite fear, but to educate the public on the reality coming January 1st. When someone commits a crime in Illinois, that person will not be held in jail absent of extreme circumstances. An Illinois Supreme Court Commission said that studied the state's pretrial system for 2 years released the report in 2020, noting simply eliminating cash bail on the onset without first implementing meaningful reforms and dedicating adequate resources to allow evidence-based risk assessment and supervision would be premature. What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think that people in Chicago, in Illinois, are going to be in for a big surprise coming January 1st, 2023? This is only 3 months. I mean, we're basically mid-September. So about 3 months, we're going to start to see all of this start to really happen. And when this does in fact happen, what's going to happen to property values? I would not want to own property there if I was going to have my family there. There's no way. I would not want to travel there. I would assume that tourism revenue will shrink. We're going to see more companies leaving Chicago. Tax revenue for the city is going to shrink. And then the net result of that is going to be less police. I mean, if you're a police officer, would you want to, what's the point of even being a police officer there if you're not allowed to stop crime, right? You wouldn't more likely want to be there. I think that we could see something very, very big here. I think something very huge. And unfortunately, it would not surprise me to see it go to LA next, then New York, then Chicago, or to Atlanta, or to Boston, or to Atlanta, and all of these other places all throughout the country. It would not surprise me for us to start seeing this trickle over, just like we saw with defund the police. This could happen. What do you think? Very curious as to your thoughts on this. Drop your comments below. Subscribe here, and subscribe also to my second channel. It's an interactive call-in podcast, and LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok up in the banner. And I'll catch you guys in the next video.